And we're rolling.
Hell yeah.
Keith Clute, what's good, baby?
Oh, shit. Pretty good. Same shit. What
Same
about you,
shit.
man?
Yeah, pretty good. Friday night. No gig this weekend, unfortunately, but we'll do something else. Just hang out,
Yeah.
shoot the shit.
Hell yeah, man. That's all you can do.
That's all you can do. So you got a double neck guitar recently?
Yeah. Yeah, I've had my eye on that for a while.
Yeah.
For a while, and I just kind of, I was like, do I really need that? Like at first I was like, I don't really need that, and then it just kept itching me, and I eventually was like, you know what, because I was going to use it just for one song, and so I was like, well, we can do other 12-string songs if I get that.
As far as being in the band.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, like just owning an instrument, you're like, dude, if you get a double neck, like that's just a lot of cool creative platform for a guitar player.
Yeah, well, and the feel, I thought that it would probably be kind of something to get used to, whenever I first had thought about like having it, and then whenever I took it out of the box and everything, like I played it and it feels good. Like it doesn't feel like you're like reaching over a fence, or it just fits right, and like
yeah,
it's just fun, like especially when you're playing that like just the 6-string, like you just got this hole of the guitar right here, and it's just like,
wow,
it makes there's something about it that makes you want to like lean back and just kind of
get into it, dig in.
It's just a big machine,
So many possibilities.
Yeah.
So you're going to use it obviously for Hotel and then maybe some other songs?
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, at first it was kind of like, whenever I first got it, I was like, I love this thing, but it's going to be a pain in the ass to like keep it in tune, because you're basically tuning like two guitars, of course.
Sure, yeah.
If you have to adjust the neck on one of them, you got to, And what's really cool about it is like whenever I plugged it into my amp, I had to totally change the tone, like, because you got like this huge big piece of wood, so it's got way more bass than any other guitar. Like I couldn't, it was so muddy when I first like plugged it. I was like, dude,
like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know what, now that you mention that, I think I've realized that about my white Ibanez versus the green one, because like when I've been playing the white one for some songs lately, it just seems like muddy. And I think you're right. I mean, I think like what you're talking about with the double neck is like what's happening with mine. Like maybe I need to change the tone a little bit for my other guitar. I didn't really think about that before.
Yeah,
but there's a Jared Dines video. He's all sarcastic all the time, but he's like, wood doesn't affect the tone, right?
A funny thing about tone is it is the hardest thing to explain to somebody, just with words. Like it's the hardest thing to put words into tone. The tone is a whole nother language. It's foreign, like it's just an ear. You got an ear for tone. Like I was explaining to my girlfriend, like, I was trying to tell her like what tone meant, and I was like, I love my tone to be like liquidy and like jelly, and like really respond to the pick, like just like, and she never understood what I was talking about. I was like, let me show you a video, and there was that Jared Dines guy, and he was like, and a lot of it does have to do with your playing, of course, but he was playing like this practice amp, like line 6, like Spider or whatever, and he had a little mic up to it, and he was recording some tracks, and he had that, and then he had like this Fender half stack or whatever, and it actually sounds pretty good.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it was just, he was playing the same thing, and it just switched between the two, and then I showed her that, and she's like, oh, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like it sounds, you could just hear the difference. That's what tone is to me. But there's other stuff that corresponds to that too, like just the little nuances that.
Yeah, and then there's all the jargon, right, that goes along with being a guitar player or a producer or something, where you're like, like we don't want it so dry. We want it like wet guitar tone, meaning like delay and reverb and maybe chorus, some sort of effects that make it
makes you
more than the original like tone from the amp. Like you're getting like this extra layer of effects that makes it wet.
yeah.
Right? Is that how you
Yeah.
perceive it? Pretty much like delay, reverb.
Yeah, it kind of takes the fear away a little bit.
It does
You
make
know?
it sound dope too. Like delay and reverb just automatically make you feel like
Yeah.
this whole other thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Like sometimes the delay, like the kind of delay I really like is like a very rapid, short like delay. You know, it's just a nuance kind of like I'll set it at like, I don't know really the rating of it. I just kind of can tell by where the knob's at, but real short. Like your original like note is like duh, and then it's just right after like
Yeah.
you know, instead of like
And it trails.
You know.
So it's not just one delay, it's like a couple delays and they slowly disappear.
yeah, it basically layers your sound.
Right.
It layers it, you know.
It layers it, yeah. That's it.
Like right away, you know, instead of, you know, after a little bit, you know, it just right away it layers, and it kind of reminds me a bit like of Eddie Van Halen, you know, because he
hell
had
yeah.
that he did that. You could just hear it, that he had that kind of delay that was just all of a sudden, you know, rapid, and it really made it wettened his tone. You know, it sounded good.
I
know?
like that the same way, to be honest. The quick delays
Yeah.
right after where the trails, like you play the end of your note and then like it's just right there and then yeah.
And it's really funny because half the people that, you know, like in the, you know, when we play a show here, half the people don't even notice it. But the thing is, though, is it makes you happy as a musician, and it makes you perform better, you know, because if you're happy when you're playing, you're going to perform way better than if you were not liking.
Yeah, if the
When you're
if the
here,
vibes are
yeah.
off, then yeah, you're not going to perform
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, so it's important that you have something that's making you happy, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, people don't know a lot that goes into it, all the stuff behind like a guitar rig and everything the
Yeah.
guitar player's doing, or anybody in the band for that matter. Like you
Yeah.
just hear the music and you're like, oh, they're playing their instrument, obviously, or singing or whatever. But there's a whole other like production and
Yeah.
layers and layers of like details that really make it the full product. You
Yeah.
know? It's
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. I mean, because, you know, I'm sure there's people that aren't musicians that can understand that, you know, to a point and understand, but, you know, musicians like us, like guitar players or, you know, drummers and everybody, you end up in this, like, thing where you're just chasing tone constantly. It's, you know, I know we're talking about tone like crazy, but still, you know,
No, it's important.
It's so important, you know.
It's kind of like
so important.
it's kind of how you're always reinventing yourself, and you can apply it to any aspect of life. In this case, it's through the scope of music, but you're always hungry for more. You're always like, how could I improve? What could I do differently? How can I get? I want to try this other rig. I know I like this rig, like, you know, but you're still interested in trying new things
Yeah.
and trying different combinations of things just to keep exploring.
Yeah.
And it's good to do that with anything in life. It's just like, instead of getting comfortable like one way, like it's good to find like your voice, things you're good at, your style, your niche, right?
Mhm.
But it's also good to break out of that and like discover.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're always chasing tone, is you're always looking for some other thing that's
Yeah.
like opens up some new creative doors.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, I mean, whenever, I don't know if it's like different instruments help you with that too. Because if you're, you know, like I watched an interview with Steve Vai, and he was talking about how one of the greatest, I think one of the greatest songs he ever wrote, "For the Love of God," and he didn't write that on guitar. He actually wrote most of the melody by singing it.
Yeah.
You know, like you're just in a different state, you know, because you have habits on a guitar.
Yep. You
Habits.
sure do. Yep.
So sometimes that kind of makes it a little hard to create things when you have a constant habit of doing something. And when you go into like when you go onto a different journey with like a different instrument, or if you're using your voice, you can come up with different stuff and then apply it to the guitar,
Dude.
and make something really, really badass, you know.
You are not kidding either. There's days, because I dabble with drums a little bit too, and bass or whatever. Not much. Usually only after I'm recording a song or something. Like, There are been some periods of time where I spent time just playing the drums, like just quite a bit. But I noticed from playing the drums, man, like I get on the guitar after, and I'm just like warmed up, like really warmed up
Yeah.
and inspired, and I'm like, it's the drummer part of being like on a beat and really like into that rhythmic kind of precision and like
Yeah.
trying to stack beats and like come to an end and start again, like syncopated and like really like I could feel that on the guitar after I got off the drums, like fucking just digging in and like really
Yeah.
tight rhythms and stuff. And it really affects your approach.
Yeah.
And like, or just like picking up a bass, you'll come up with a different style of riff than you would like if you just picked up your guitar again, because you got
Yeah.
habits, but you
Yeah.
pick up that bass and you're like, oh shit, what am I gonna do here? And you just
Yeah.
it's just totally a new creative path.
Yeah, like, I mean, those times where when I was younger and I would, you start, you're playing whatever you're doing and, you're like, man, this is pretty cool. And then you see someone that's just so badass, like, you watch a YouTube video of like, Yingwei or whatever, and it's like, damn. But then it like all of a sudden like gives you this sense of motivation and it's very inspiring. So like when you go back to get the guitar, you're not thinking the same way you did the last time you picked it up.
Mm-mm.
You're thinking about what you heard, and then you kind of try to sound like that, and then it's just a journey of developing yourself, really, because you're developing your own style or whatever, because you see all sorts, you're inspired and motivated by not just one person, just a lot of people.
Totally.
And then eventually it just kind of comes together, like you form new habits, and like I said earlier, like you got habits on guitar, you form many more, and then it just kind of keeps adding up, and then you sound like, you don't always sound like somebody else,
Yeah, it's a combination of all your influences, but through your own like filters and lenses, and then like emulating like your own way of doing it, but also like I mean, like emulating others too sometimes, and just putting all that together. I mean, how can you not? Like, we're all a product of influence in every regard.
Yeah.
Like, not just with music, but we're all affected by those who came before us. Why?
Yeah.
Because we came after them. So
Yeah.
I mean, like, we inherit the world that other people, generations and generations have built. So, like, as far as being a musician, you kind of inherit like a lot of what's already been done, in a way, just through your influence.
Yeah.
And then like you fall into it and start learning songs, and then eventually maybe writing your own stuff, and then all of a sudden you have your own now you're influential
Yeah.
to other people, and now you're the guy that somebody else sees and they're like, damn, and then they want to go back home and like work on it and step their game up. You know? So that's cool.
Yeah, well, like,
and not just that, but you inspire others.
Yeah. In different ways that they might be inspiring you too, like whenever I first met you, really, like, because I've known you for a long time, back when you had the dreads and stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't recognize you. This was like 6 years ago, and I was like 15, and man, like I remember pulling up with my mom, because that's when your brother and my sister first got together, and I came over here, and then I saw you, and I was just like, because I thought you were like, I was like, who is that guy?
Like, you recognized me but weren't sure.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know if that's him or not.
Yeah. And then I walked up and started talking to you, and you're like, yeah, I got a studio in there, a jam room and shit. And I was like, well, let's go. And I was like, you play guitar, huh? And you were like, yeah. I was like, I think I know you. Did you used to have dreads? And then you're like, yep, sure did.
Yep.
I was like, cool, man. But yeah, that's what I'm saying about like the motivation you get from somebody else, about like going home and working on shit because you saw somebody playing. That's how I felt, when we jammed, or you showed me a few songs that you
like over here at my house when I had the dreads. Like, you came over and then you were like, let's jam or something, and then like we jammed together. Yeah. For the first time, pretty much, right?
Yeah. Well, you were showing me some stuff that you wrote, and it was just so cool, like the style, just the style and the way that it was played. It's hard to explain that kind of stuff, but it really like influenced me. I mean, just in a certain way, to where I was like, man, I want to go home and do that.
Try something different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because the same thing happened with me, because you came in, and you were playing like you played all kinds of shit. You're like, hey, put it on that one song. And like we kept looking up songs, and then like you would play to it and just like rip that song to shreds, like cover like some Dream Theater and like I think it was a Avenged Sevenfold and like a Pantera song, and like you played through a couple songs that night, and I was like, damn, because you had all the leads and everything in there, and I was like, holy shit. So you left, and I'm just like, oh fuck, like I need to step up my leads and shit,
But I think it's really cool how we both had the same kind of message towards each other without even trying,
without communicating.
We were just having fun.
That's proof of it too.
We were just having fun.
Yeah,
and it really, it's inspiring to, it makes you enjoy doing what you're doing. Seeing people that have something that you don't, it could be taken both ways, but it's good to see it as inspiring and motivating, because then you're gonna go farther.
Yeah, you gotta use it for
yeah.
fuel and inspiration, rather than like jealousy and insecurity and shit. Where you're like, oh, like, insecure about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing, because I've always been, everybody, it's normal to feel that way sometimes, but with music, I've never felt like that. I may have, like, with other stuff, but with music, never.
No, me either.
I've never been jealous about somebody, or, that dude's way better,
Even like, even skateboarding, man, like, that's another thing, too, is like, there'd be some people who are just really good at it, or they had like some style or tricks or things, like they're out of reach in their own way, where you're like, damn, like they're badass, like they're better than me at that thing or whatever, this trick or that trick or this obstacle or whatever. But I'm not insecure about it. I'm like, it's cool as shit. Like it makes me like one of your friends is doing something gnarly, and it makes you want to get a little bit gnarlier just because they're doing something gnarly. Like it's so if you another musician or something, you're like, damn, they're out there getting it, playing shows. Like, I want to be out there getting it, playing shows. Like, not that I'm jealous or I want to necessarily be like them, but I just, like, what they're doing is fun and cool, and I want to be a part of that, And it's inspiring.
Yeah.
It makes you want to get your shit together and put a band together and get out there and do it,
Yep.
I'm stoked being in a band with you guys. This shit's tight as fuck.
It's fun, man. It is. It's really fun. Like, I mean, I don't think anybody has gotten to the level they are now without the people being better than them. It's just competition. I mean, it's not really competition, but it's like, dude, I gotta be that good. I have to be able to do, like, whenever I first heard Dream Theater, Stream of Consciousness, and I heard the guitar solo. It was that, and it was a song As I Am, and just guitar solos are just, I mean, just so badass, dude. So badass. I mean, they're Shreddy McShredderson, I mean, I do love the old school feely, wishy-washy shit too, but like the sheer technique and the
precision and like the speed picking and all that, like the really fast tremolo picking through sections and
just the accuracy too and the cleanliness. Like you hear every note, no matter how fast it's going, you hear every note.
Every note, yeah.
And when I heard that first, I was like, I felt like that it was an obligation to be able to do that. Like I forced myself, like mentally, like literally thinking, like, I have to do this. I have to be able to play this.
Yeah.
It's just so badass that, I mean, you just love to see yourself be able to accomplish that, and it's like a drug, really, like when you finally do something like that. And the only way I was able to do it was with the metronome, because, and it's metronomes are the best thing whenever it comes to, like, getting a technique down and practicing it really slow and then speeding it up, and then
I need to do that. I'm a fucking slacker. I haven't spent much time with a metronome,
Yeah.
I spent a lot of my time, if I pick up the instrument, I literally just mess around with it until I find something.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I just write that, or remember that and try to mentally remember it and put it in my catalog of, like, this endless catalog of just shit that you play, you know.
Yeah.
But I could really work on technique and metronome, and you're not the only one who's ever said that either. Like, I mean, a lot of people swear by that. Like, yeah, you need to practice with a metronome.
Yeah.
Build your speed up. Don't try to play it fast right away, because then you're gonna build bad habits of not playing it correctly, and then you're better off playing it slow and then working into that speed.
Yeah.
Rather than just trying to fucking throw a Hail Mary and hope it works, and you're like, nah, you're just sloppy.
Yeah, and sometimes it's even good too. Like, even if you already have it down, like say you've had something down for 2 years, it's still good to go back to that sometimes. Play something that you can already play perfectly, but with the metronome again, just for the hell of it.
Just
you know?
cause, yeah.
Like, it's just good, you know. It keeps your technique in check, you know. Like, it, you know, I mean, for me, my, you know, and this probably I've heard, you know, it's complete opposite of what a lot of my guitar heroes say, but my technique is a little different from whenever I play slow and when I play fast, you know. It's just slightly different, but it's still comfortable to me, and it's not like I don't feel like tensed up or anything. It still feels good, but you know, it's just important to do that, you know.
Yeah.
If that's what you're going for, if you're trying to be like you know, real tech about playing super clean and fast, and for me that's always been something to
one of the things you want to focus on. Yeah. It's part of your voice.
Yeah.
Because like we were talking about tone earlier, and tone itself, like your guitar tone, the way that your guitar sounds is like an expression of your voice. But beyond that, it's also your dynamics and your personal physical interaction with the instrument.
Yeah.
And so like the way that you're pushing into it and digging into it and letting up and lightly touching it sometimes, and other times really attacking it, and there's just all kinds of little nuances to it, and whatever technique is, and in quotation marks, it's just like, it's really up to you. Like, your technique and tone is yours, you know, so you can fiddle with all those different things and then put together your own way of doing it, and that's what works.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Like,
obviously.
You know, like there's some people, like there's accenting, you know. And there's some people that love to do like the pinch harmonics or whatever, but that's actually used a lot more than people think. Like, you know, those squeals that they do in like the heavy metal and shit.
Yeah.
But that was used a lot in rock, but it wasn't used like that.
On the low end, on the low strings.
Yeah.
And, yeah. In the riff.
That's used a lot in classic rock too, but it's not used like that.
In context.
It's very subtle pinch harmonic that really like kind of brings out a harmonic in the note, and it makes it sound really like beautiful, kind of, you know, especially if you like hit a note and bend the shit out of that string, you know, it gives it like
these overtones,
and
extra vibrations of the same and similar frequencies. So it's like a chorus,
and it sounds
almost
very
puts like a chorus effect on it for a second.
Yeah, and it sounds very emotional, kind of, you know.
Yeah,
like, you know, and I just think, you know, there's so much that goes into that, you know. That it's just that's why I love music, because
you can carry your feelings, like from the inside of your being. You can carry those feelings through into a sound.
That's why I love music too, is because a lot of people kind of just like learn the same thing by being self-taught. Like they start learning about all that little stuff that like it's little stuff, but it means a lot when you know, in the long run, you know. Yeah. And it's cool, like people, you know, you'll realize that eventually you'll start getting in that groove, and you know, I mean, you know, like you know, like electrical or whatever, you know, and stuff like that. You have to learn that like by somebody, or else, you know, you're gonna mess shit up, you know. But like with music, it's different. Like you can do what you want and have your own tone and your own feel. You don't have to always.
There's no
like somebody else, you know.
There's no instruction manual. Like there's no like one way to go about it. Like here's how to be a guitar player. Yeah. You know, there's some basics, like here's how to tune. You know, here's what the strings are. Yeah. Like, here's like clean and dirty and here's and then like here's some tablature or something, or here's a couple open chords, and then eventually you get to a point where it's all on you, and like once you know certain techniques and tools and go-tos, you're like, the world's yours. Like you can
Yeah.
go any direction you want. It's like a map or something.
Mhm.
Like you can wander the earth like in any direction. It's
Yeah.
like you can wander music in
Yep.
any direction. It's
You
crazy.
know, like, I mean, there's not really a book to it, but like, I think that you don't have to know like music theory 100% at all.
No.
You don't have to do that unless you're trying to be in some kind of orchestra and read music and do, whatever. But I mean, Steve Vai, I mean, he writes his own music and stuff like that. But I saw an interview of John Petrucci, which that's like my go-to. Like that's where I get a lot of get a lot of information from him.
Yeah.
Like, and and it's true because you don't really have to know all of music theory. You have to know like a little bit of it, just a little bit.
Right.
And you already know most of it.
How would you describe it? Like what would you need to know about it? Like the little bit. Like,
mainly like modes, modes and because the pentatonic scale is your worst enemy. It's the shittiest thing I have ever seen.
Why
It
do you
sucks.
why do you say that?
Because you get trapped in that, because they'll learn the scale and it's just a pentatonic scale. It's just a tune upper string scale, vertically down the neck, and it's worthless.
And also
It's worthless.
You're probably mostly referring to that first position of the
Yeah.
pentatonic scale.
And that's what they think that is.
Because-
not everybody, but some people that just learn it, they're like,
Because there's like 5 positions
yeah,
to that minor pentatonic.
yeah,
But everyone always plays the one, where it's like a whole step, and then series of half steps, and then 2 whole steps. And you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you gotta.
But they
learn
get
the-
stuck in that one box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it sucks too. It's a motivation killer, because you try to play along. You try to get into this I'm gonna write my own solo, and then I was like, oh well, shit, this I can't do nothing with this, And I experienced that a long time ago, Like I was just practicing the pentatonic scale, and that's it. Like whenever it came to learning scales, because people would be like, yeah, man, whenever like a year into playing, like 10 years ago, they were all like, hey, you need to learn some scales, and they were right. You're definitely right about that. You need to unlock doors and learn more of what you're wanting to do, but that's all I was doing, was playing scales.
Yeah.
That doesn't, that to me, that's
And
all I was doing.
specifically the pentatonic scale.
Yeah.
And then, but what made the difference? Like, was it the modes? Like, when did someone? Because the modes made a big difference for me.
Yeah.
Well, how did you come into like, kind of not knowing what you're doing to what you're doing? How would you describe that?
So it's basically like unlocking the whole fretboard, 100%. Like you unlock the whole thing, and it's you do, and you're not stuck in this box anymore. I see videos about this constantly. And it's true. Like I'm glad that these videos are out, and like people are like, hey,
Yeah.
let me show you something. Stop doing that. Let me show you something real quick, so that way, you could open your mind and play freely and still be in key.
Yes.
That's the thing, is it unlocks these doors that keep you in key. So what it is,
Unlocks these doors that keep you in key. That's it right there.
yeah.
So what is it?
Well, instead of it being a vertical scale, it's like a horizontal scale across the whole fretboard. Depending on which key you're in, the shapes change.
Yes.
It changes depending on what key you're in, and you can manipulate things a little bit. You can do like a 4-note chromatic, and say you got. I mean, for any of the guitar players, they probably know what I'm talking about. I'm sure they do. If you're in like the key of, D minor or whatever, like on the high E string, you got your 5th, 7th, and 8th fret. So you're using your index, your ring, and your pinky finger. That's the position
Yep.
right there. And your index is on the 5th, your ring is on the 7th, and your pinky's on the 8th fret. Well, the next position, since your pinky's on the 8th fret and your ring finger's on the 7th fret, if you want to move up one, You're going to put your index on the 7th, middle on the 8th, and then your next note is going to be on the 10th fret. So it's basically, you eventually learn all of that. I mean, it would be crazy to try to explain all of that.
It's hard to explain it.
Yeah, but that's just a basic little like position.
What I discovered, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was gonna say like some passing notes that they use sometimes in jazz, or
are technically out of key, but
Yeah.
they psychologically lead the ear to the next note, which is in key.
Yeah.
So you can borrow it, even though it's like an accidental on sheet music. It's like not supposed to be in the song technically, but it
it's
is.
there. Yeah, and it's a forgiven, it's called a forgiven note
It works.
because it's not like you're, and it sounds so good sometimes to have flat out of key. A couple notes in between the two notes that are in key, if like you're doing legato, like it just sounds real, like it flew, like it just went down this like river and went back up real
It's kind of like
smoothly,
it takes on a voice. I noticed the dude from Intervals. He was talking
does
about
that stuff all the
He was
time.
talking about vocal lines though, and how he writes his guitar lines like he's singing, like it's the top line. Well, because it's instrumental music too, so it's like the guitars are replacing what would normally be like the lead vocal.
Mm-hmm.
But he's talking about making how the voice can fluctuate, like all those other intervals, all those other like chromatic notes and stuff. The voice naturally drifts in and out of key sometimes anyway during the transition because it doesn't have frets or keys. Your voice is like organic. It's not man-made on a man-made instrument. It's like it's like,
and you can't see what you're doing.
No, you can't see.
You
So
can't see what you're doing.
So there's like these in
awesome.
between notes, like you're talking
Singers,
about.
yeah.
So I think that's why it might sound so good on the guitar when you
Yeah.
when you use it in certain ways, because it takes on this other part that's like almost like a voice.
Yeah, and like I was gonna say why you should get out of that, anyone who is or whatever, but why you should get out of that like pentatonic scale habit, or if you're trying to base all of your knowledge off of this kind of stuff. Though unlocking the fretboard, like understanding modes and positions and how everything just kind of, it's like it's just like a door unlocks another door, and you could just do whatever you want as long as you know the positions and the what key you're in. You end up, that's what I'm saying, you end up developing habits. You start developing habits and doing things and unlocking more doors and doing and it's motivating.
It is.
That whenever I first was trying to work on those pentatonic scales, it was kind of like, man, how did all those rock stars and stuff make something out of that?
Yeah.
But they didn't make it out of just that.
See, it's you're right. It's all those modes. It's the whole scale. That blew my mind. For anybody who's trying to learn about guitar, learn the modes, right?
Yeah.
And the different shapes of the different modes and how they connect.
Yeah.
Because I'm not even all that good at throwing it off the fly or anything. But still, if I ever want to figure anything out, like if I'm writing a riff or something, I'm like, I want to harmonize this. Like say I'm in the studio, like recording on my laptop or something, and I'm like, I got this riff. I can put one guitar in, like pan it to the left, and then I write the second guitar part and pan it right, and then I might be like, I want to harmonize with it. Well, the modes help me figure out like a minor third harmony, and then you're sounding like Iron Maiden or some shit. And all of a sudden you're like, it's useful knowledge to be like, how do you get that Iron Maiden, like Metallica, like dual guitar harmony sound? And you're like, oh, here's how you do it. And it's just the way the modes connect.
Yeah.
But also for soloing. And then to bring it back to the minor pentatonic, it's the sixth mode of any scale, like E minor. Minor pentatonic, but E natural minor, they're like the same thing.
Yeah, they're like relative.
They're relative. They're in the same spot, but actually the pentatonic's just 5 notes. Minor pentatonic's just 5 of the 8 or 7 notes of natural minor. But anyway, I know I'm nerding the fuck out over here, but it all connects, and if you want to learn about that shit, the modes.
Yeah.
And then you can connect what you know about the pentatonic scale to the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pentatonic scale's badass.
Yeah.
Like the minor pentatonic scale is badass because
it is pretty cool.
You can do a bunch of cool shit with it, but as long as you're not like limited to it. Like
That's
where,
what. Yeah. Yeah.
where
That's
you
what
can use it with all the other shit.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm saying is that they're not. I'm not saying it's like not good to know, but like don't get in the habit of limiting to yourself to that, because that's what I did, and it, you know, it kind of was. I was just like, man, that sucks. Because I remember telling my dad a long time ago, about a couple years into playing, I was like, man, I know how to play other people's solos, but I don't know how to like write my own solos. Like, it's like, how do you do that? You know?
So
Like, how
you
do
were just
come up with-
memorizing some of it.
Yeah, I
in
was
the
just
beginning.
memorizing other people's stuff, and then actually Rico Ramirez, that you know Rico.
Shout out Rico.
Yeah, man. He was the first one that showed me that. Actually, I mean, it was in person. I think that's why it was so important to me, because the first time I heard about it was in person with another guitar player that knew what they were talking about. You know, like he was just like, yeah. So the first position is that, and he was playing a musical, you know, piece on just one string going up, and then he was like, now, you know, there's octaves on this on the two strings up, and it'll be the same position but a whole step back.
Yep.
You know, and then the one in the middle is going to be kind of similar, but it's just, you know, it's hard to explain, but you know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah.
like when he showed me that, I was like, huh, you know? And then so I started kind of playing along to like get songs that already had guitar solos, and then I would kind of do my own thing over their guitar solo, and just not like my own thing,
Figure
but
out
just
which key they're
experiment.
in.
Yeah, experiment, like what key are they in, and then you finally figure it out by just doing that over and over, and you got everything down. Okay, this is the key of B minor.
There it is.
I know
You
it.
just
I
see
know
it.
all the notes on the whole fretboard.
Yeah.
I know. I memorized everything, just because of habit. You develop muscle memory. You know, like if you had to think about it, forget it. You know, it's the muscle memory that you end up acquiring by constantly doing that, and you end up learning that in every key. Like how when we jam, you know, a lot of the songs that we've kind of done together are in D minor. You know, some of them, and there's some that's more in like E major or happy kind of sound or whatever.
Right.
You know, and D minor, like that's what I'm saying, is you memorize all of those
The
notes.
modes.
And then it just
And the
becomes,
positions.
Yeah. And then you start playing shit with that, and you develop your own library and your own, like, you know?
Your whole like
It's
yeah.
it's
Vocabulary.
awesome, dude. Yeah, it's awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
And they're transparent. Like the modes, the overall shape, the whole fretboard, it all moves in relationship to where the first one is or where the last one is or whatever. So whichever one you're referencing, for instance, the one, you call it the one. Like here's the first note of whatever it is. Like A, we're in the key of A.
Yeah.
Then A is the first note. A major. And you put number one on A, you move this big box of these modes around.
Yeah.
You can move it to any key. It just depends on which one you put it on. But it's the same muscle memory and the same shapes and all that.
Yeah.
It just depends on which one you move it to.
And with another thing that's so cool is
So to learn one is to learn them all.
yeah.
Because you got these scale books, and they've got all these scales in them. And you're like, you need to learn all these. Like, if you think about it differently, like what's A minor versus E minor versus B minor
Yeah.
versus C minor. You don't need to learn each one. You
Yeah.
just need to learn a minor scale and put your first finger on fucking C or fucking A or whatever. And you've learned all the minor scales. You don't need this huge book.
Yeah.
When I first got a scale book, I was like, ah, damn, how the fuck did they know all these?
Yeah.
But it's like you only need to learn one key completely. Learn one key all the way through, and then just shift it to any other key, and it's the same
Yeah.
movements.
And that, you know, something else that's really cool is like if you're in a position, like I said before, you know, there's 5, 7, and 8. In that one position on one string, that's one of many. That's nothing, but that's just one. Well, if you played the note 6, it would sound like shit, and whatever key you're trying to play, it wouldn't sound good. It'd be out of key.
Right.
You know, like if you played that one note, which is F, actually, you know, something like that. But yeah, it's the wrong note. And see, that's the thing. I didn't memorize what every letter and note was. You know,
Me
it's
either.
You just memorize everything. You understand what it is. You know what key you're in. You know what you're doing, and you're good. What I was gonna say is that wrong note can be used as, like we were talking about earlier,
Extra flavor, like a spice.
Like if you slid into 7, you know, that's a correct note. If you slid from 6 to 7, that's like a flat note, like where you do that, you know, and
Yeah.
it's
It's like a raised seventh note because it's between the seventh and eighth note, or the one. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But it creates this other little flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it, you know, it's kind of bugging the shit out of me that I wasn't really able to name that one note. But it kind of, you know, I'm like, because I usually, whenever I kind of focus on the notes of the first few strings, and then from there on, it's more feel, you know, it's more of a feel thing. And,
For sure.
And an ear thing.
Well, and then you can figure it out. Like, I always backpedal, like with figuring out the notes. I'm already playing the part. I don't have to think about what letter the note is.
Yeah.
If it's an F sharp, I don't know. But then if I'm like, wait a minute, what note is that? I can figure it out based on process of elimination. And it really helps if you know those octaves. Like, if you're like, all right, my finger's here. If I skip a string and hold it like a power chord shape, like a whole step power chord shape,
Yeah.
but instead of a power chord, you know, like an octave chord, then that's obviously your octave. And then from there, you've got the next octave. You can find your way around.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm saying. If you know this like whole
Yeah.
like octave triangle kind of thing, like how the octaves all connect, then you're like, if this note is that note, then this note also has to be that note because it has to follow this rule.
Yeah.
Everywhere I put my finger like that, that's an octave. And then you can find your way around the... You know, it's just little things like that. Like, if someone would have showed me that a long, long time ago when I first started, I would have picked it up a lot quicker. But I didn't figure it out until, like, maybe sometime later where I'm like, oh, if my finger's here, and that's the note, and this is always an octave, then that's always the same note. So
Yeah.
if to know one note is to know two notes, and then to know two notes is also to know three notes, and then all of a sudden...
It just keeps opening
all
doors.
of a sudden you're like...
You're on...
Why didn't I figure this out earlier?
It's, you know, like, it's, yeah, it's like...
Why didn't anybody fucking show me this earlier? God damn it.
That's what it's like. It's just constant doors that you're opening, and like one door leads to 2, and the next leads to 5, and 8, and 12, you know, like...
There are a few friends I've tried to explain it to where they asked me, you know, they were like, how the fuck... What are you talking about? How is this the same as that? And I tried to explain it, but I'm like, one day you'll just, if you want it, you'll dig in and you'll listen and you'll be like, all right, what are these modes? I'm gonna figure this shit out. What is he talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And octaves and all this stuff and like, I'm not saying I know everything, but I'm just saying, if I could go back in time and show myself when I was starting out some of these things, I would have like grown way faster and been like, wow. You know, like, so if I ever have the chance, like if someone's ever interested in like playing, like if I had an opportunity to teach someone to play guitar, I would share with them some of those basics. Like, well, if this note is there, that note is always there, which means that note's there and that note's always like, I don't know. Hopefully I'm making sense. Like,
you're making sense.
You motherfuckers that are listening might not be making sense, but
yeah, they're probably like enough with this guy. You know, fuck this
shit.
guy.
Keith Clute, all he did was bitch about guitar notes the whole time.
Oh,
nah,
shit.
hell no. These conversations just go wherever they go. You know?
Yeah, they, you know.
But I did want to ask you though. You've been doing some electrical work, man. So, how the hell's that been going?
It's been going pretty good, man. You know, I'm kind of where I want to be now with the job that I have. You know, I've been through four or five different jobs in electrical. You know, and I think that has kind of helped because, you know, you go through one thing. I don't know, it might just be me, but I always felt like I learned something from this guy, and then now I know this for the next guy, and then now I know even more for the next guy. And then eventually you got a good sense of knowledge about stuff, you know,
right?
And then you become somebody that's trusted because you know
they know they can bring you in, put you on a job, like assign a series of tasks to you, and be like, go for it, and then they can trust you that you kind of know what you're doing for the most part. Yeah,
you know, I mean, what I'm doing now basically is, you know, wiring all the panels and building the service for the house, that's usually what I do after some other shit's done. You know, like at first you can't do that. You gotta like box the house up, drill out, and then run home runs, and then I can start doing the meter. And that's like my favorite part is building the service and doing the panel. That's my shit. I love doing that.
From scratch or a full new one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a remodel, but you'll put a brand new panel in, or one from in a new building. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just feels good now being, having enough knowledge to have someone assign you to doing that. Like, this is what you're going to be doing. And it's pretty, like,
And that's a rewarding feeling.
Yeah.
I can vicariously relate in a way where I'm like, I would imagine how that feels. Like someone's like, all right, like, you're cleared to install this panel and, like, wire up this house and shit and, like, whatever. And, like, it's on you. Like, that's a lot of weight. Like, with great responsibility, or responsibility or whatever, But you got a lot of responsibility, and you're like, whoa, like, I got to make sure this shit's done. Like, this is a real job. Like, I can't be fucking around.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to set some shit on fire or do it wrong, or, like, you want to, like, really carry it through and make it like,
make it look professional.
Yeah.
Like, make it look professional and, look good. Like that, I'm so picky about the way the panels that I do look. Like, I want everything to just be perfect.
Flawless.
Like, to where you could look in there and see through shit. Instead of it being a rat's nest of bullshit wires all, I hate that. I love to make it look good. And I mean, it's just kind of turns into a good habit,
Yeah, it's good to take pride in your work and make sure that shit's clean. And then anybody else who comes in later that has to, like, fix something or do something or change something or whatever, it all makes sense. They're like, oh, the guy who left it before me wasn't a fucking asshole.
Yeah, I mean, and I, whenever I, like, because I mean, I've been doing it for about 2.5 years, and I mean, I know it's not like I've been doing it for 30 years, but the thing about a trade too is, like, whenever you're doing that for a living, you're doing it a lot. And so in just 2 years, I mean, you're doing that shit all the time, and
all day, every day.
You learn so much in just a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And even though I knew what I was doing when I walked into the job, I still wanted to be, like, pretty humble about everything, like, because I don't care if you've been doing it for 40 years. When you start working for a company, they're gonna want you to learn how to do it their way. They're, like, just little shit.
Nuances,
Yeah, nuances, like how they want you to make up and tuck your wires for rough in or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to change what you do sometimes. It's just the way some companies are, and that's fine. I don't care.
It's just like working at a sandwich shop.
Yeah.
At one sandwich shop, they're like, here's how you wrap the sandwiches. And then you go to a different sandwich shop, and they're like, here's how you wrap the sandwiches. And you're still fucking wrapping sandwiches.
You're still cutting, stripping wire, and twisting shit. And the least favorite thing, I mean, some electricians will be like, oh, man, that's easy as fuck. I hate hanging lights, dude. I hate it. I hate that shit. I mean, I don't mind doing it. I think it just depends on what it is. I mean, ceiling fans are cool, but, like, just pain in the ass shit,
There's always parts of the job that are lesser desirable than other parts of the job. There's some parts of it, like, you like putting in panels, right? Or
like doing the service. Building the whole service and, wiring the panel. That's where I'm like, that's where I feel like, okay, I'm on my own. I get to spend some hours the rest of the day doing what I'm doing.
Right.
I mean, I like working around the people I'm working around, but whenever I'm doing that, I'm working by myself and I'm in my own world, and it's pretty fun, And I got to start wearing a mask too, man, because when we drill out a house, like, I got, like, some really shitty allergies, man. Like, I try to wear some safety glasses, and, like, we're drilling out, and he's so, he's really picky about that.
Hey, at least you'll actually have a reason to wear a mask. Because you got all these other assholes that are wearing masks with no real reason to be wearing one.
Just breathing in your own fucking carbon dioxide. That's
doesn't
all
protect you from anything other than, if you're an electrician and you're, like, drilling through insulation and shit. So you'll have a real reason to wear a mask.
Yeah, at least it feel like, it'd feel like that, but, I mean, man,
I've had some shitty allergies too, man.
dude, it's fucked up, dude. I mean,
it's fucked up.
It sucks.
Like, when I was younger, I never had allergies until like the last couple of years. I'm not saying that I'm old or anything, or that my allergies are caused by my age. I'm just saying that several years ago, I had never had allergies my entire life.
Yeah.
And so other people who did have allergies, I was like, damn, like, what are they talking about? I was never affected by it. And then all of a sudden, like, the last couple of years, I've really been affected by allergies. And it's like, dude, that shit sucks.
It's fucking annoying.
It's super annoying.
Like whenever we're drilling out a house, above, I'm sure there's people probably know a little bit what I'm talking about, like the 2-gang boxes and 3-gang switch boxes and shit.
You're installing these electrical boxes.
Yeah, you got to drill holes up above those boxes for the home runs or for their lines to hit and power those boxes.
So you got to drill holes through all the studs of the house.
You got to drill
and through
holes,
the drywall or the ceiling or whatever.
Yeah, through the top frame and everything. And I mean, whenever you're drilling, I mean, all that shit's just falling
right on
you. And it gets in your gets all over your shirt and shit. It kind of sucks, but.
And who knows what those materials are? I mean, most of it's plywood and paint and glues and all kinds of shit. But there's every now and then, if it's old, it could be like some weird, gnarly old shit,
Yeah, it's just old wood, nail.
Dust.
Drilling out,
mold too. You never know. You could be drilling through some mold, and then microscopic particles of mold get in your system, and you're all fucked up. You don't know what's in that shit.
That's what I love about this job is it's new shit. But back before this, I was doing that with old fucking piece of shit houses. That hey, let's go smear a bunch of lipstick on a pile of shit, and just I mean, you're drilling through the old shitty insulation. I mean, fuck, I hate that
brutal.
shit. And that's why I was excited about this, because it's brand new. You don't have to tear any bullshit out and figure anything out. You just do what you're doing, and you know how to do it. You're starting from scratch. It's never been done before. You're going to be the first one to wire this house.
Yes.
Maybe in 40 years,
somebody
might be
else will do
redone,
it.
But, now it's like, it's nice doing new shit,
That is awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, fuck. They have that, like, the asbestos shit. People that are, like, 60 are affected by that from working with that shit. Well, there could be shit in this new insulation that they never discovered that could do the same fucking thing 40 years from now when I'm, like, 60 years old.
Yeah.
Like, well, I got this, like, blah, 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 whatever from the shit that I worked with back then. You never know. I mean, there's just new things that people discover and what they're working with,
Yeah, so there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
You never know what these materials are, man.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no way of knowing, and all you can do is just do what you can do,
That's the shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know we were talking about, like, tools and shit earlier, but you had brought it up, but we were talking about that DeWalt drill.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all that, but I think I moved it somewhere, but
oh, there it is. But yeah,
you got yourself like a good set of tools and shit that you've been working on.
Oh shit, man! Yeah.
I thought that was really cool because like you got your stimulus, right? Like this stupid bullshit stimulus.
Oh yeah.
But still, you might as well take it if everyone else and their dog is getting one. Fuck it, piss on it. It's all fake money anyway.
Because before then, for about a year, I was spending a lot of money on tools. Like, I mean, that's because with the electrical, you gotta have a fuck shitload of. I mean, you gotta have tools for anything you do, really, in any other trade. But the electrical tools, man, I was spending money like from every paycheck constantly, almost blowing the whole fucking thing on electrical tools. It's kind of stupid, but
no,
I mean, it was like a habit. I got addicted to doing that a little bit, because it's just fun walking into Home Depot and. Looking at all Klein tools. That's all I got. Klein tools, and I got DeWalt shit for power stuff. My boss is all pissed off because he likes fucking Milwaukee. I don't know what the fuck that shit is, but no.
Yeah,
just
yeah. You're just talking shit. No, I thought that was really cool though, man. Because one day like we were jamming after band practice or something, and like you're like, yeah, check out this fucking drill I just got this set of drills, or like you had all these cool tools, and you were like, fuck it, yeah, I just went and dropped like fucking bunch of money on some tools.
Well, yeah, because I got that stimulus check. Because I mean, a lot of people did.
Everyone did. Yeah.
So I was just like, you know what? Oh, I dropped that whole fucking check on fucking tools, dude.
I thought that was cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like that is one of the things that like I can look up to you in a way, you know, where I'm like, Keith's one of the, you know, younger people I can look up to, because I'm like, you do some smart shit like that. Like, to me, that's smart. Like, to me, not to be like, oh, like I'm your older brother or some shit.
Oh, yeah.
But I was just like, I'm kind of proud of that motherfucker. Like, he takes his whole stimulus and he's buying tools instead of like a bunch of stupid shit, you know? And like, you're investing in your craft, man. And,
you know.
And me too. I'm like, that's something I should do. I'm like, I don't even have that many fucking tools, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm always building shit, building the skate park and all that. And I mean, I've got some tools. I got a drill and a circular saw and a tape measure, and all, you know, after a time you develop some tools.
Yeah.
But I've never treated myself like I'm gonna get me a set of matching nice dope ass tools.
Yeah.
And like
Dude.
you did that. Like you're setting yourself up with like, you got your shit. Like you're all kind of like
That's the thing.
matching, and you know where it is, and you can get to it anytime. And not only is it good for your personal life, but also like, it makes you more capable in your work.
Yeah, that's the
It's
thing
just
about
dope.
electrical with electricians. I mean, I'm not talking shit about the plumbers or nothing, but I'm just kidding.
Talking shit
but
about those plumbers.
It's just though, being organized is so fucking awesome. You know, like I recently bought this Klein Tools backpack that has all these slots and shit, you know, for all your stuff, and I packed that fucker with all those tools. It's just so jam packed with, you know, and I use all of them. You know, it's not like it's just, oh, I have this here for it to look like I have a lot of tools. I mean, I use a lot of them. Some of them aren't used for shit. Some of them are. You know, it's there. You know, like and I feel like that made me kind of put a good impression on the people I work for now, because they know that, you know, I got my own shit. You know, and it's nice having your own stuff. It's really cool. You know?
It is. Plus, like, you're more employable and useful to them. You're more valuable to them.
Yeah.
Because they're like, this dude's got his shit together.
Yeah.
Like, he shows up, he's got his own truck, his own tools, he knows what he's doing. I can put him on any job. He'll get it done. If he runs into any problems, he might give me a call or something, but
yeah,
you can count on that motherfucker.
And there's been, I mean,
and
shit.
that's value, like,
yeah,
as an employer, like.
And there's times where I don't want to, that I do call him and I'm like, hey, how am I supposed to, how do you want me to do this? Because I don't want to be stubborn and, you know, be like, oh, well, I did it like this back then, you know, I'm like, don't do that. I'm just going to call him and make sure that he's cool with that, because once you do something on a house, sometimes you can't fucking, you know, you got to totally start over. You know,
there's no undoing it. Yeah. You're like, I can't waste time and materials undoing this big, huge thing I already did. Like, like, it's the way it is. Otherwise, we got to fucking start over. And we can't start over. Like, you know, I was supposed to have this shit done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So it's worth calling and checking sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it makes him happy, too, because he probably was like, yeah, I'm glad you fucking called me about that, because, you know, you'd have fucked it all up.
Yeah. Yeah. That was funny working with Brian, man. Like, sometimes I'd be like,
oh my God,
I think
dude.
I fucked it up. And he'd be like, well, what the hell is wrong with it? And I'd be like, I don't know. He'd be like, it's fine. Well, tell me. Well, what the fuck's wrong with it? And I'd be like, I guess you're right. There's nothing wrong with it.
He's like, well, then just leave it there.
Move the fuck right along, then.
Yeah. Brian's cool as shit, man. I do like that guy. But, man, working for him was a whole nother deal. You know, like, yeah. He's a pretty cool motherfucker, though. Pretty cool dude. But he's pretty high-strung whenever we were working for him, man. He was, you know, like, balls to the wall. You know, like, let's get this shit done now. And that's you know, let's get shit done. Let's be productive, you know. But man,
yeah,
he
was intense.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It was definitely good work. Like up there in them trees, up in Mayhill, like fixing houses and shit. Like like remodel jobs, and
Yep.
Yeah, and I learned a lot working with him, and I'm sure you did too. And you got to work with Julian too. That's cool.
And that was like,
That's like the icing on the cake. Like,
well, yeah, but it just, he wasn't the only one dealing with the job, and I wasn't the only one dealing with it. Even though I came in there, this was when I was like fucking 15 years old. Hadn't even started doing electrical. I didn't know anything about any of that
no
shit.
shit, it was that
at all.
long ago? It was,
Yeah.
god damn.
Yeah, about 6 years ago. But yeah, man. Fuck. I didn't know anything. I was nervous, but it's a long drive too. At that time, man, I'd sleep the whole fucking way up there, and then by the time I woke up, it was always whenever they were at the gate to that house. And they're like, "Get the fuck up!" I'm like, "Oh shit!" I'm the gate bitch. I'm the gate bitch, and fucking I go open the gate for him, and
Yeah.
But it was fun working with Julian, though. He was like, he made it fun. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah.
Like he always cracked some jokes here and there, and like made work like a decent place, to be at.
That's always a help.
Yeah, and the place I'm working at now, that's always like they always do that. Like they'll blast music with their badass, like maybe one good thing I can say about Milwaukee, but they have a Milwaukee stereo and like it's badass as fuck.
Nice.
And they'll blast some cool shit in there, and it's just motivation. It makes you happy, and at least you're happy while you're working, because some people don't have that,
Yeah,
And
a lot
I'm
of
thankful-
people don't.
I'm grateful that, I'm somewhere that I do have that,
Yeah, hell yeah.
Makes the job a lot easier.
That's everything, man. It sucks. Like when your work environment sucks, it fucking sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so much better.
Yeah.
And like it can be better with not that much effort. Like, putting some music on and not taking things like super seriously and intense and just worrying about every little thing, like there's an approach to it, like creating a good work environment,
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not that hard. Like we can all get along and do
Yeah.
this job and have fun.
Well-
Like it doesn't have to suck.
It's just people, you have to learn to get along with the people you work with, because you're going to be spending more time with them than you are with your wife or husband or kids and shit.
Right.
So you might as well learn how to fucking get along, because it's going to be miserable if you don't.
At least the waking hours, you might sleep next to your significant other, whatever, but like you're spending 8+ hours a day with these people all day, every day.
Yeah.
And you're like,
So
yeah.
you might wanna
you
learn
better
how to-
learn to find a way
Yeah.
to make it tolerable,
Yeah, because you're going to be around them a lot, and I mean, and you want to wake up in the morning being excited about that, about going to work, because it sucks when you wake up in the morning and you're like, fuck, dude, I got 8+ hours,
It does suck.
and you're just like, god damn it. But it's good to have that. What helps me is planning out what I'm going to do the next day, so that way when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I already know what I got to do. I'm going to go over there and knock that shit out. And that'll be my whole day.
Yes.
Because it really sucks waking up and going, man, I wonder what we're going to have to do today. I don't like that. I like to
I know
already
what you mean. I know
Yeah.
what you mean.
Yeah.
I have to have a plan, like with my job, like teaching and stuff. It's crazy that I even do that. It's still like sometimes that doesn't even make sense to me. I'm just like, how the hell am I doing this? How the hell am I the guy that's supposed to know what he's doing to help somebody else learn about something? It's
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, like it works better when you have a plan with anything. Where you're like, I'm gonna go in there and do this and present these things or whatever, and I have a plan, But if you go in there with no plan,
Yeah.
oh, it's like it's not good, and same with any job really, unless it's like one of those things where like the plan, like the job's the same every day. Like I worked at a restaurant for years, several different restaurants, but it's like the task is pretty much provided. It doesn't change too much day to day.
Yeah.
You still run into situations, and the point still stands though. You got to learn to get along with your coworkers, because you're still stuck with them all day.
Yep.
But work can be a lot better with certain changes, like perspective, just having a good attitude and
Yeah.
going to work and maybe having a plan, and it makes all the difference.
Yeah. Especially when you're familiar with what you're doing and you already know. Like, that's always helped me tremendously. You know?
Confidence.
Like, sometimes if I gotta like start on the service or whatever, the next like maybe the last 30 minutes, I could maybe do one thing. I don't want to even start it. Since it's so close to the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just save that for tomorrow, because then I got all this shit to do that occupies me, and I ain't worried about what time it is or nothing. I just do it, and by the time I know it, fucking done. You know?
There you go.
That's what I like about knowing about what I'm gonna do, because then you're occupied. You know?
It helps you like configure a timeline and give your day some structure, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're not just twiddling your thumbs or being like not unsure of what you're doing or what to do next. And
Yep.
fuck yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Shit, man, that electrical work's intense though. I'm gonna have you help me with some shit over here.
Yeah,
That'll be
man.
fun.
We'll knock it out.
You know
We'll
what's
knock it
funny
out.
too is this place used to be like an electrical company, and like some of the shit's kind of fucky. You're just
Well,
like,
this is commercial though.
and part of it's because of me changing things too. I haven't fucked with it too much, but I've noticed some shit's a little weird. Like me and Julian have replaced a few outlets around here, and you're just looking at it like, why the fuck did they do it like this? Like it just looks shitty, you
Yeah.
know, and like it's not done like as good as it could have been done. You know, it's
Yeah.
like mediocre as fuck, and you're like,
Yeah, they probably just slapped it together.
and who knows? Maybe
fuck it.
those dudes didn't even build the building. But I'm talking about even the company prior to them was like the power company. I think it was like Frontier. It was Frontier Electric.
Yeah.
It was definitely what it was. Well, it was empty for several years too. But then it was like it used to be Frontier Electric, and then it used to be I think the power company.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, like now it's like P&M, like Power New Mexico or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
But like a long time ago, back in the day, there used to be like a public power company, you know, like for the city, like municipal power or whatever. And I think
Yeah.
it was this place,
Yeah.
which is just weird. It's like my house.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Well,
Like, what the hell?
there's just some people when they do electrical that they just don't give a fuck about it. They're like, well, you know what? It works. It works. No, I don't care if it looks like shit or not. It fucking works. And I can't stand that shit, man. I mean, I just like to make things look perfect and as perfect as I can do, you know, and look good, so that way, you know, at least another electrician can see what the fuck is going on, instead of there being a big pile of bullshit there right in front of him, and you know, having to,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, yeah, but
Yeah,
we'll get that stuff knocked out though.
Yeah, it's nothing too
Problem.
major. A few, for those of you who don't know, listeners, I took some lights down and, you know, shut the breaker off and made sure the power was off to them, and then disconnected these lights, so cut the wires and then put wire nuts on them and just left it like that, and haven't done anything since. The problem is when I cut those wires, a few of the outlets on the other side of the room are no longer active, and I've been living without those outlets active for a long time, and Keith's gonna help me troubleshoot that bitch and put it back together.
Hell yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah.
We'll get it.
We'll get that shit done.
I'm sure it was just a pigtail or something that, you know, came undone or whatever, you know, something fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But we'll get that shit.
We'll fix it.
I mean, it sucks when that happens and you're like, you know, because it seems like, oh, it's all this kind of, you know, it's just so much shit going on, and you're like, man, I wonder what it could be. But, you know, since we already have like a probable cause of what could have happened, you know, like the lights or whatever, that's what we'll start. That's what we're going to start. And
Work your way back.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Fuck yeah.
and it's just testing and seeing where your source is, and, you know, we'll figure it out for sure.
Yo, that's right.
You know,
We'll figure that
bitch out.
shit out. So, yeah, man, it's been good catching up for sure. I was just gonna ask you. I wrote some notes. Every now and then I write a few notes. I'm like, what could I ask him about? Like, We talked about a lot of shit. We talked about music, guitar playing philosophy, and you got that new double neck. That's fucking sick. I gotta play that bitch,
dude.
So,
Dude, fuck
I
yeah,
gotta
I'll
try
bring
it
it
out.
over. I'll bring it over here tomorrow when we do some of this electrical shit.
Oh yeah.
Tomorrow I'll bring it over and have you fuck with it, dude. It's fucking amazing, man.
So it's like a double neck. It's a SG, a Epiphone, right?
Yeah, and I will never buy a Gibson SG. The only fucking reason I did is because it was a double neck, and I mean honestly that I like it.
And it's of course
not
it's
a
an
Gib-
Epiphone.
Yeah,
Because Gibsons are like if the same guitar with a Gibson name would be like
it's like $8,000.
$8,000 bucks.
And I ain't. Fuck.
I mean,
It's the same fucking thing, man. It plays good. It's enjoy. You know, it's over $1,000. I mean, I know sometimes the price don't matter. Some guitars are fucking great when they're only $300. But like the Music Man, you can tell by the price that's a big difference. But,
You're in an upper category.
yeah, but the Epiphone though, it's perfect. I love it. It feels good. It plays great. Fuck the Gibson. I don't need the Gibson.
No,
you
because
know?
then you've got this like $8,000 thing where you're like, oh shit, like. Just imagine having the weight of that, like rolling around, knowing that your guitar costs $8,000. Like, I don't even want an $8,000 guitar because,
Yeah.
like, what if anything happens to it? I'm like, fuck, that thing cost me $8,000. Like, you know,
that's not a good
it's,
feeling.
it's just too much money for a guitar.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
That's
You're
insane.
buying the name, man. You're buying the name.
Motherfucker, you can get a damn good car. Used car for $8,000. You know,
like the Music Man that I have, it's the Ernie Ball Music Man, John Petrucci signature one. There is a big difference between that one that I have and then the $800 Sterling by Music Man, and that is the Sterling doesn't have the piezo pickup inside of the bridge that gives you that acoustic tone. It doesn't have that.
no.
And I think that plays a big role in the price, along with, because Petrucci, that's all
The
he
name
uses.
brand and
Yeah.
and the factories. A lot of the factories are
Yeah.
outsourced and the labor's cheaper and they can make them cheaper. Indonesia, Mexico,
Yeah.
all these places. But then there's other factories that are like local, and I think that's like with Gibson's USA made or whatever and all
Yeah.
that. And it's just way more expensive and
And I was having
handcrafted versus the Epiphone, which is made in like Indonesia or whatever.
Yeah,
And
because
it's still like a badass guitar, but it's just
Mhm.
way more affordable.
yeah, like that Music Man has 2 output jacks. One's for the piezo and one's for like stereo. And the piezo's mono. You can run both of them if you want, but one of them was fucking up and causing a bunch of noise. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take that apart and tighten the jack. I took that fucker out and it's like a big box with all these EQ, like 3 different EQs on it. Like you can adjust the EQ of the piezo pickup. And there's a fucking circuit board in there. Little circuit board inside of that thing. And I'm like, I put that bitch back in there and screwed it. And I was like, I'll just send it somewhere and have someone. I ain't fucking with that.
Nah.
That's why it's so much more expensive, is because of that. Like, there's some crazy shit going on with that piezo thing or whatever.
And the way
you
it's
know?
all rigged up and connected.
Yeah.
And yeah, you don't want to fuck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that shit. I would never try to act like I knew about that.
Maybe one day you will, but for now, especially since you're already on the path of electrical and stuff, maybe someday you'll figure it out and you'll
Maybe
be like,
someday I'll
ah.
be like, I want to be a technician.
Maybe someday
or
you'll be like,
something.
it's kind of simple. Here's a circuit board and piezo. So, yeah, I've worked on those
Yeah.
or whatever. But how's that Charvel though? You like that motherfucker?
Oh, hell yeah.
That thing's badass.
Yeah, it's, shit, man. I hate to say it, but like, I'm so comfortable with that guitar that, the Music Man's badass, but there's just something about, I just really like Strats, and that Charvel is kind of a Strat guitar, basically.
Right.
It just looks better, in my opinion. It looks 100
Yeah.
fucking times better. It looks way good.
Yeah,
It
those are
just had-
badass.
but it has the Strat shaped, and it plays, it's really nice. I like it. And the Music Man's good too. I love it, but Charvel just still feels good,
Feels like home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really enjoy playing that. And the Prestige Ibanez, of course, damn thing's badass too. But
Yeah.
and you got that Ibanez
The
AZ, right?
ARZ or AZ or some shit.
Yeah, that's badass too.
It's kind of like your Charvel, but the Ibanez version, kind of similar market.
Yeah.
Similar, like it's got the toggle with the fucking, what do you call that? Coil tap and coil split. I always forget which one's which. Coil split, coil tap, but it's got like 10 different.
Same shit. Yeah.
It's got 10 different tones you can get because it's a 5-way switch plus the 3-way selector.
It's
so
ridiculous.
you've got 2 sets of 5.
Yeah.
Basically.
So
you got 5 on the one and 5 on the other. There's 10 different tones you can get.
So I think a clean sound on a basic Fender Strat with the single coil pickups in the 4th position from the neck pickup on the toggle switch sounds beautiful.
It does.
And whenever on the Charvel, you got double coil pickups, but the coil tap allows you to change that to single coil pickups.
Yep.
So you're, and then you can do the same thing, go 4 up on the toggle switch, and it sounds fucking awesome, dude. There's something about that, like it's just that's what I do all the time. And I had to get used to because that toggle switch is 5 positions there, and you got to perfectly get it in that one from the last, because
you can't hit it. You can't just throw it up because then you'll hit 5th position.
Yeah,
you got to throw it up in just a way where you hit the 4th.
Yeah, and it's a pain in the ass.
It's a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah, and I'm sure some people are probably like, what the fuck are they talking about? And then I'm sure there's some people that's like, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so there's 2 pickups on the guitar, and on the Charvel, we're talking about 2 humbucking sets.
Yeah.
But you can single coil it, and then there's a switch. And anyway, when you see someone playing guitar on the stage, there's a lot more to it than them just playing the guitar. They're hitting little switches.
And you don't even notice it.
And hitting foot switches, changing their tone, dialing their volume knob back, and also maybe hitting pickup selectors.
Constantly.
And all kinds of shit with pick attack and dynamics, and the list just goes on and on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, and one time I recorded myself playing, it was just kind of just something to do, because I know I never do that, and I kind of just wanted to do it one time. And I was just I wonder if I can see myself doing the switches, because you do it once you get it, it's a technique. You do it to where you can do it while you're playing. You learn how to do that. And I was seeing the way I was doing that, I was like, wow, man, you don't even notice it, when you see yourself do it, or even somebody else do it, it's got that has accomplished that.
You've got to be aware of it to notice it.
Yeah,
like when you see other guitar players and you're watching guitar player videos, you notice it. Maybe if you're looking at what they're doing and you really concentrate on it.
Yeah.
You're oh, I can see him. Oh, there he hits a switch. He's on his neck pickup now, and then for this other run, he's switches it back to the other.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what that is, or you would never even notice.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I noticed about you when I started jamming with you a long time ago. Was I was he's switching back and forth and making the most of those pickups, and that's not something I did a lot. I always left it straight down, just all the way, just on the one pickup. But I was I'd fuck around with the other one a little bit, but I really started becoming more conscious of it after I saw you throwing it back and forth in these different positions. I was just yeah, it does sound better for certain styles of lead lines and speed, fast picking, and those real liquidy, those little runs.
The neck
and then you
pickup.
flip it down, and then really pinch and get a lot of bite out of the bridge pickup.
Then there's also that toggle switch is a tool as well, because you can bend a note while you're in the neck pickup position on there, the farthest up on that switch. And as you bend the note, you can flick that switch down, and it creates an overtone harmonic.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds similar to a wah pedal, but not it doesn't really sound like a wah pedal. It's just because it this it becomes from being narrow to wide. Yeah. It just kind of creates an overtone, and it just little shit that, I mean, you get in a habit of doing things, and you start realizing damn, you start doing that. And what's funny is, I've ended up you know, building a habit of doing things, and then I would see other guitar players doing it. Not that I like. I mean, it's just like, wow, everyone ends up learning things without being taught, and then seeing that other people have done the same thing, and it's already been invented. But you're like, I wasn't even shown how to do that, and then like you all of a sudden start doing it just because, you know.
That's what I was talking about earlier. Like, if I could go back in time and show myself certain things I know now, I'm like, how come I didn't know that before? But you're like, you just discover it on your own, and then you see it out there in the world, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
like it's a thing. Duh, of course it's a thing.
Yeah. But that also helps you with learning. Like, if you wanted to learn like a Dream Theater song, you know, a lot of that's in there. But like, it's there, so you already have that down, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about learning about, you know, accenting and all that stuff, is that you can also hear it in another player. To where if you wanted to cover a Dream Theater song, you can hear him doing all that. So you automatically already know by ear how to make that sound as close as possible to what he's doing. If it is, you know, because we all know that as a guitar player, when you play a cover, you want it to sound exactly like the way it is, just because, you know.
Unless you're recording and you're rewriting your own version of it.
Yeah.
Or something.
But
if you're trying to cover it pretty accurately, then why not make the leads and the tone and everything, you know, the dynamics and all of it as much as you can.
Yeah.
Let's try and capture that, you know, and then you, like you said, you know what they're doing. Like, you're like, oh, he flips the switch there because there's this crazy fast line.
There's that little sound.
There's that sound, and you just know.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, back to the other pickup.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's cool shit.
It's fun. It's enjoyable. It's the best. Music is, I think, you know, what kind of world would it be without that? It would suck.
It would suck
fucking
ass.
suck, dude.
You know what? Like, Amy and I were just watching like American Horror Stories recently, and there's like this fucked up dark cello, like this, just like these orchestral string parts, these disturbing nuances of like it's just a fucked up cello or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's crazy how like the psychological aspects of just like a sound can really make you feel uneasy, just tension and totally nervous.
Yeah.
But if you, even your TV shows, everyone watches TV and binge watches Netflix and all this shit. Like, music is such a huge part of the psychological, like, you're in this world of this show, but like, listen in next time. And just notice how much the music affects it. Because there's like old like silent films, like from back in the day, like silent films, and it's like it's not near as like sensory, like it doesn't have the sensory power that the music does, you know, audio. But music is intense, dude. It's intense how you can create those emotions, and it's like this giant pool of stuff that exists. And you just have access to it, you know, and you can pull some out and like spin it around and throw it out there and make your own shit, but it doesn't really belong to anybody. It's like magic.
Yeah. There's this song though, like, that reminds me about, like, you know, like creativity and trying to be something else, trying to write something that doesn't sound like, and that it's so hard. When you write something, there's so much stuff out now to where it's gonna sound like just a little bit of something else, you know?
Yeah. How could it not? How could it not?
There was this song by, you know, I understand. I know it's a, you know, millennial. I mean, I don't know what I am. I don't know if I'm a millennial or whatever. I don't know what the fuck I am. But there's a song by 21 Pilots. It's called "Stressed Out." You've probably heard that.
Probably, yeah.
And it's like, I wish I had some, like, something that no one's ever heard. Like, I wish I didn't have to rhyme every time I sang. Like, just, you know, like, just some, like, really cool lyrics, man. And I mean, I know I'm not, like, really into the pop, hip-hop shit. I really do enjoy listening to some of it, but I'm not, like, that's not, like, my thing. But some of the lyrics, though, and that stuff is, like, It's cool.
good.
It's
Yeah.
cool, man. You know, it's like it's just somebody portraying what they are feeling or going through or whatever they want to talk about.
It's art, dude. It's all expression. Like at the end of the day, it's like I love it. I love the different types of music and stuff because you're like, what got into somebody to make them go out and like pick up some instruments or a pen and like put together this thing that sounds like this and record it and capture it and then put it out in the world like
Yeah.
like it takes a lot.
Yeah.
Like we can sit here and criticize music all day, you know, but like anyone who's out there putting out a song, like that's some fucking work.
Yeah.
It's kind of like writing a book or something.
Yeah.
Or anything. You're like, you can't just write a book. Or like, oh, I just wrote a book. Like, that's a big fucking deal. Like if you write a song and record it and put yourself into it and then like put it out in the world, like that's
Yeah.
like a big part of yourself, like an artist. You know? And so even if it sucks or if other people don't like it or if it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that shit's whack or whatever, like I admire music for what it is. Like we could critique it all day long, but like
Yeah.
those people who made that music put the effort into putting it out and making it exist, and it's an extension, an intellectual like extension of themselves.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's like this podcast. Like I don't give a fuck if anyone likes it.
Yeah.
Like if you don't like it, why are you watching?
Yeah.
Why are you
No
listening?
shit.
The only people
Yeah.
who are listening are people that are interested in what we have to say.
Yeah.
And if they're not, like, no
Then
hard feelings.
who
I don't take
cares,
it
right?
personal, but
Yeah.
I'm here talking to Keith Clute. And
Right.
if anybody, I don't give a fuck if there's 0 views or 0 likes. I don't give a shit.
Right.
You know?
Doesn't matter. We're
Like,
just
if-
we're just here having a good time.
If my music
You know, fuck
or
it.
my art falls on deaf ears or blind eyes, I put it out there I felt the need to put something out there. My art or my music or this podcast or a song we wrote together or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And if I felt the need to do that to release some intellectual part of myself and put it out there, it doesn't really matter where it goes, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like there's lots of good music though, you know, lots and lots
Yeah.
of good music. And a lot of times we fall into these identities like, oh, I'm not allowed to like that or I'm not allowed to like this because if I do, then I'm like a pussy or something. I'm a little bitch if I like this kind of music. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
You know,
Like,
I mean,
I like all of it.
and some people are like, they don't come out of the closet sometimes. I mean, I'm not talking about, you know, but like, I'm just mean like, sometimes like you'll be talking about like, you know, country music or whatever. That shit's gay, you know. I don't like that shit, man. It sucks, you know. And then you end up liking one of those songs that is from a genre that you don't like very much or whatever. And you like, you know, Savannah one time caught me listening to one of those country songs, you know. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, I'll turn in the
Change the
stereo
station.
down. Yeah, I wasn't listening to that. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's no shame in liking what you like. Like,
Yeah.
like good.
And then I eventually was just like, you know what? I do like it. It's cool. You know?
Good
like-
extends to all things, and bad extends to all things.
Yeah.
And your interpretation of good or bad extends to all things.
Yeah.
So, like, you
And I
can
mean-
like something or
Yeah.
dislike something, and it is what it is.
And, you know, I mean, country music, like guitar players, those fuckers, those
They got
guys,
chops.
They're good.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, dude. I remember seeing you know, like Brad Paisley. I've never seen him in concert, but watching a video and
He's a
seeing
badass.
That dude's badass, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, country may be real smooth and easy sometimes, but those guitar players, man, those guys are fucking good.
There's strategy behind it,
Yeah.
and psychological nuances to
And
it, and dynamics, and ways you can make it sound,
And if those dudes,
Yeah.
I bet you them dudes probably studied Steve Vai and all. I mean, you know, it doesn't. Just
Everything.
because they're country artists doesn't mean that they don't
play rock and roll or metal or
Them
anything
fuckers
else.
could probably rip
Oh yeah,
shit. You know,
like some
I mean,
fucking
yeah.
sweet picking and
some hybrid picking,
tapping and all kinds
Yeah.
of crazy shit. Yeah, it's like or even a lot of those country techniques like chicken picking and all that shit.
Yeah.
That shit's not easy.
No,
Like That's
Yeah.
its whole other
And
like.
that influenced me here, and because you know, hybrid picking, when you pick with your middle finger for ascending notes or descending notes or whatever, it creates this tone that's like this real slappy, like, and it just delivers a like outright like boom. You know, you hear those
Like a percussive type feel.
yeah, it gives a string a percussive sound, especially when you're playing really fast and, you know, clean and shit. I heard like a country lick one time, and I was just listening to country music, and this is when I was younger, but I asked my dad, I was like, that was cool, like that sounded like a rock lick for a second, but it sounded even almost better, like it just sounded just so clean and sick, you know.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, those country players, man, they ain't no slouches, man. They're good. And I was like, and I was kind of intimidated. I mean, I wasn't intimidated, but I was kind of butthurt because I didn't really like country music. And I was like, what do you mean these fuckers are good? You know,
Of course.
Like, of course, I was young and immature and didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. You know, because but you know, that's when, and then I started discovering like Tom Quayle and like Tosin Abasi and all these people, even intervals, you know, or
Aaron Marshall intervals.
yeah, and all these like this new generation, which is wicked, like a force to be reckoned with, like these new players that are coming out with this fucking mind blowing shit. They're doing all that stuff, hybrid picking. It's gotten.
Rick Graham does a lot of hybrid picking too.
God damn. Fucking Rip Graham.
Who are like some of your favorite like guitar players right now? Like
Right
just
now?
people that you would look up to, like that you're like, damn, I want to play like that. People who inspire your playing.
Well, John Petrucci is probably my favorite guitar player of all time, I think. Yeah,
So
I'm
for those who
pretty
don't know, Dream Theater,
Yeah.
John Petrucci.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course Steve Vai has been. He's had a role, you know. I mean, but man, John Petrucci's always been like this. You know, go to, like I've loved his tone, his playing, I've connected with a lot of his music emotionally. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, it's just it connects with me, and it didn't have to connect with everybody. It just, you know,
That's what it
makes
is
me
for you.
feel. It makes me happy, and it influenced me a lot. Intervals too. That dude's fucking badass. Sick as shit. Rick Graham, definitely. I think Rick Graham is probably right behind Petrucci. Yeah, that's for sure. Because
I hope you're all like doing extremely well out there today. I know
Yeah.
I am.
yeah, on my list, I think Rick Graham is right behind John Petrucci. You know,
He's so fluid and smooth and
Yeah.
buttery and just like
he's almost too good. Like,
It's
I don't even know if that's
unbelievable.
possible, but it's almost. I mean, it's so like he almost has too much technique, man. It's like, I mean, it's God. When I watch his videos, I rewind it and watch it over and over like 100 fucking times because it's just so good. You
like
know?
that one where he does that like ascending run.
Oh my
it's
God,
like
dude.
it's like his hands not even moving.
But you hear every note.
Oh my god. Yeah. If anyone listening in, if you want to see some fucked up guitar playing, type in Rick Graham on
And
YouTube.
type in the what the fuck lick. That's what that's called, that video.
I should put the link in the description for this video. I'll
Do it.
attach it. I'll put the link in the description.
Yeah.
You got to watch Rick Graham's guitar playing. He's just insane.
Yeah. And there was a few videos where I watched him and he would show you how to play this lick, and I mean I learned him and I got him down. You know? But that what the fuck lick is pretty weird, man. I'm gonna have to spend some time on that one.
Dissecting that bitch.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You know? God. Yeah, it's insane, man. But at the same time, it's great knowing that the real reason why people can achieve that is because they love what they're doing.
So you've been in a band with your dad for like 6 years or some shit, right?
Yeah.
So you guys have this connection.
Yeah.
And it's a trip to have that connection.
Yeah, and I think, you know, because like I was saying, like when we're playing together live or even practice, it doesn't matter. Like we hardly even have to look at each other. you know, like especially, you know, like when you hit that last fucking note of a song and you bend a string, I just feel when he's gonna do it. We just play at the same fucking time. It's just, you know, it's like
Yeah.
we know each other. You know, like it's just the coolest thing. You know, just being, and I know that there's bands that play together for 20 years and they do the same shit. It's just because they know each other. You know, it's the chemistry. You know, and that's kind of, I feel like that's a lot of it. We have that. You know, when we play. You know, I mean, everyone, we all do.
Yeah.
You know, we all fucking have that because we're getting to know each other musically a lot better as a band. You
And
know,
the songs and the timing
yeah.
of the songs, and yeah, it's fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
I need to
badass.
work on it some more, man. God damn it. It's almost been like almost a year, dude. Because I remember Gons talking about like Thanksgiving. Like when I joined the band, I've almost been in the band like a year, almost.
It's crazy.
Isn't
dude.
that weird?
Time flies so fucking fast.
The fuck?
God. And it's awesome though too, you know? Like, but yeah, almost a year now. Fuck, dude.
Yeah, going on a year. I remember Thanksgiving time. Like I remember being like, we were gonna practice or something, and Gons was like, like why don't we just skip Thursday? Like we'll just fucking skip it. Like everyone just have their Thanksgiving weekend, and
Yeah, I
let's
remember
just pick
that.
it up like Monday or whatever
I remember that.
after Thanksgiving break or something. And I
Yeah.
remember having that discussion kind of and being like, yeah, that sounds good with me too. Like silently, I was thinking like, yeah, that's cool. Let's just take the weekend off. So I must have been in the band like early November or something. And
Yeah.
it's almost October. So
You were,
right
man.
about October of last year is probably when I came in.
Fuck, you were. Yeah, we've been playing together. We've been playing together for fucking ever. But like in a band, though, yeah, it's been almost a year. That's crazy. You know, it's almost like you have practice every 2 times a week. Well, a year's gonna go by fast as fuck when you got bills every month because
Yeah.
your bills are constantly coming up, and then
They don't
before you know
stop.
it, it's been fucking 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Because when you're thinking
Yeah.
about it in terms of a week or 2 weeks or a pay period or a month, it's like, shit, well, this week went by fast. I get paid again next week. I got to pay some bills. And then, like, okay, it's the next month. And then, like, it's just like fucking months go by. You
Yeah.
know, you're like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
Because we live these lives in these cycles of, like, bill cycles and paychecks.
Yeah. Yeah, no shit.
and band practice, and hopefully a lot of other cool shit too. But yeah,
Yeah.
band practice twice a week, so it's like clockwork. You know, you're like, fuck. It's like we were just here. It was Monday,
Yeah.
now it's Thursday, now it's Monday again. Like, here we oh shit, show on Saturday. You know,
Yeah,
it's fucking awesome.
it's pretty badass, man.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love playing. I enjoy my job, and I just, you know, I hope that other people, you know, have that too, you know.
Can find something.
You can find something that they enjoy. And I know there's a lot of people that do have that, you know. I just hope that people can find that kind of shit, you know, in life, because sometimes it's hard to do that, you know. It's hard to really know what you want to do. And I didn't know what the fuck I mean, when I started electrical, I wasn't certain that that's what I wanted to do. My boss was a fucking asshole, you know, like a motivation killer, you know, so I just kept going, and then eventually it kind of rubbed off on me a little bit, and I started enjoying it and kept going. And,
Yeah.
you know, you get motivated by acquiring knowledge, so, you know.
Absolutely.
It's kind of a motivation thing for me, you know. So that's what helped me along that.
Me
kind-
too.
You know.
Me too. I think you gotta stay hungry. You gotta constantly want something,
Yeah.
you know, in order to kind of feel good. And of course, there's people who disagree. Like, well, if you constantly want something, then like, what's the fucking point? Or whatever. Like, you gotta be fulfilled.
Yeah.
You gotta be fulfilled with your character.
Well, if you get what
gotta-
you want, yeah.
You gotta arrive at some point where you're like, here's my character. Like, here's who I am in the world that I live in.
Well, if you get everything you want, you're gonna get tired of it eventually.
But you got to stay hungry.
Yeah. So if you stay in that point at that, like, I mean, not at that point, but in that mindset of wanting to keep going and keep learning and wanting to achieve something over and over, you have goals, and that's what keeps you motivated. If you've already got and you've already accomplished or whatever, I mean, I'm sure there's people that are already retired or whatever and been there, done that, are still happy, but you know, if you just have to have, like you were saying, you have to have that constant want and need to do what you're doing and learn more and more, you know? Like, if we already knew everything about guitar, I mean, you know.
What's the fun?
Yeah.
And there's the thing too, the more that you realize, the more that you know about something. Like, there's a good quote, like, I forget what it is exactly, like word for word, but it's like, the problem with the world is that people who don't know what they're talking about are talking all the time, and people who do know what they're talking about are too skeptical of themselves and they're silent.
Yeah.
And so, the more that you learn about something, the more you realize how much of it you don't know. Like here's what you know, and here's what you don't know, and the rest of it's like, here's what you don't even know you don't even know. And so, when you're open to this, and you're like, I don't know everything.
Yeah.
I'm an open book. Like, I'm willing to learn more. Like, what can I learn? You start realizing how much there is to learn and how much you don't even know. And then, so it's like the true experts, like somebody who's great or good at the guitar, like you or something. You know, there's so much shit that you don't even know, and so many more possibilities, and like you're still hungry for more.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I have not arrived.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I still need to travel far before I feel like I've arrived.
Yeah.
That's growth mindset.
Yeah. And
It's important. If you ever want to grow, you got to stay hungry and be like, it doesn't matter where I'm at right now. Like, there's still so much more. I know how much I don't even know. There's so much shit that I don't even know. I got to get some of that.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, there's never an end to learning ever.
Fuck no.
You know? And if there was, I mean, it'd be a boring world, you know?
It's beautiful.
I'm sure there's stuff that is still waiting to be discovered. I don't know, you know?
Absolutely.
Maybe even simple shit like electricity. This probably something else that could be discovered too.
All the ideas that lead to one, like the butterfly effect, like printing, right? Like the printing press, like printing books and literature and replicating knowledge and sharing it, and literacy and reading and all that shit, and then like turn it into the internet. But even if you want to take it back to printers, then there's 3D printing, where the original printing press was focused on literature and writing and spreading knowledge like that. They weren't thinking about it like, oh, we're gonna print 3D objects.
Yeah.
But it came from the same technology, and it branched out into a whole different thing. And so it's like, there's absolutely discoveries that we don't know yet, that are right in front of our face.
Yeah.
Probably using the same technology, or like a byproduct of that technology.
Yeah.
To solve a problem or create a service for the future that we're not even fucking aware of. Of the shit that's right here in front of us.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, that's God. You know, it's just crazy how long we've come, you know, to all this shit.
It's gnarly.
Yeah.
So what's on the horizon, man? You got anything coming up, or any goals, or like any short-term or long-term goals, or just something you'd like to do?
In about a year and a half sometime, I'm shooting for my journeyman for electrical.
Sick.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for those who don't know, or me even?
Well, a journeyman is like so you spend about 2 to 3 years, something like that, as an apprentice or whatever. And I'm kind of near the end of that, you know. But there's still shit to learn. But after that, you take a test, and it consists of like 300 plus questions, and the test is like 4 or 5 hours long. Apparently, that's what I've heard. I've never done it.
Right?
And you have to drive all the way up to Albuquerque, take that test, and if you pass, you get your journeyman.
Certified.
And your journeyman, your journeyman basically means, I mean, you could technically, with a journeyman, you can get a job anywhere.
So you can apply.
You don't even have to fill out an application, really. From what I've heard about that, I'm sure you do, but being a journeyman, you know, but I mean, being a journeyman, it's a good thing, for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's like a GB98, like for a contractor or something, or whatever it is. Like if eventually you go through all this shit, you intern, and then you get like your license, and now you're like approved by the state, like stamped, like what do they call it, notarized. Well, you're ready to work off your own.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a journeyman license, and then there's, I don't know if it's called a GB95 or 98 or something. But then there's a contractor's license, and I think you are required to have that to pull permits and develop your own business.
Be the foreman,
yeah,
and all that kind of shit.
Like my old boss, Ernest, I think he's got something.
He's
like
got that.
You know, but I'm really, I think that I am doing a lot at this job, you know, like stuff that normal people, or somebody that just started, you know, or, you know, I feel like I've spent the time to be able to do and be trusted with the stuff that I am doing, you know, like wiring panels and doing all kinds of, you know, there's a lot of shit that goes into that, you know, and it's not easy. It's,
no,
you know, and there's a certain way you want it to be done. And I mean, I feel like having the reason I want my journeyman is so that way I just want to have a journeyman. That's what I just want that. You know?
It's like you learning those Petrucci leads. You're like, I have to learn that.
Yeah.
So you're like, I have to get that goddamn journeyman.
Yeah. And another good reason too is that when you do that, you can also, like I said earlier, you can get a job anywhere you need to. If you want to get a job, you most likely gonna get hired with one. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm open for knowledge on more about the journeyman, really, because I don't know everything about it, really, you know. I just, from what I've heard, I know that it, you know, that's what my old boss told me, is you can get a job anywhere with that thing.
Sure. To me, it's like your driver's license. It's like your ticket to the world. Like, you no longer need an adult or like any provisions to drive on your own.
Yeah.
So in your case, it's electrical. You don't need somebody else to supervise you necessarily or tell you what to do or how to do it. Like you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you can take that and be like, hey, I'm eligible. I can work for you.
Yeah.
And
I do.
I can work for your company or this contracting company, or you guys can hire me through contract, and I can produce this product of this field of electrical trade.
And I mean,
do it.
You know, and I do. I mean, that's why I'm happy where I'm at, because the guy I'm working for, he, you know, trusts me with what I'm doing, and that's cool. You know, I'm glad. I mean, of course, he shows me what, like, everyone has a certain way that they do it. You know, like, I want you to do it this way. This is kind of my way of doing it. You know, I'm open for suggestions later on, but for now, just kind of do it that way. And I did, and I actually really think the way that he does it is pretty good. You know,
It's good
strategically. You know, but yeah, I mean, I'm not shooting for my journeyman, so that way I can like leave them and do something else. You know, like
not necessarily.
Yeah,
no,
like
it's
I'm happy here. Like, this is a big deal for me. You know, like
good. It took a while to get to that point.
It took a long time to get to this point. Like, you know, if I started out being with them, I wouldn't last a fucking chance. You know, like I wouldn't know anything. You know, and I'm just having that experience, a little bit of that experience, you know, got me to where I'm confident in telling him, yes, I know that. I know how to do that.
There is a lot of that, like at the right place at the right time. Like if this was the first place you worked, it might not have worked out because you weren't developed enough yet. But the fact that you went through all your other shit first and ended up here later, it's like now it's working.
Yeah.
You know.
And
so timing is key, and it's like you don't always have control over your timing, but You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, my brother.
Timing is everything.
Yeah, my brother Lou told me about these guys because he works for Scenic Homes, and Lou, he's fucking badass at, you know,
All
building.
kinds of shit.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience in building houses and shit, and you know, he even remodeled his own house. You know, and it's good to have that trade because you can save money and do it yourself. But anyway, he's working for them, and I think they subcontract Lighting and Electric, which is who I work for, to wire the houses that they build. And I was working for this guy Ron Pender, and he's a really cool guy, but it just wasn't cutting it at all. You know, wasn't making enough. Couldn't really pay the bills and shit. You know, and the corona shit went down, and before that happened, I was working at the hospital, and I was doing good. And they started laying everyone off because of this shit. And so at the last minute, I was like, well, I need a job right now. And that's the guy that was there. So I was with him for about 7-8 months. And then Lou told me, he was like, yeah, this guy Matt, man, he seems pretty cool, dude. He like wires houses. He's got a crew. They're all cool. And we got this badass stereo that they blast all day with like metal and all kinds of shit. And
hell yeah.
He's cool to his dudes, and you know, it's like just something to think about, maybe, you know. So I told him, he was like, I know you don't like taking, you know, I know you don't like it whenever I'm like, here's this, you know, because most of the time when he does that, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man, you know.
Sure.
But for some reason, I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know, it's a job on paper. I'm not getting fucked with taxes or, you know, like trying to build credit, you know, because I want to do that.
You can do it on the ups and be legit. And
yeah. So it just really stuck with me, and I was just like, man. And it's funny because he was telling me, he's like in the back of his work trailer, because I take my own truck because that's just the way I am. I got my own tools in there and in the toolbox, and I want to have my shit with me. Yeah. But they drive their work trucks, but on the back of his trailer it says, now hiring electrical. Get off your lazy ass, follow me to the job site.
Nice.
I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, that's cool.
That is cool as shit.
Yeah.
It's cool, it's bold, and it's truthful, because a lot of motherfuckers are lazy, and they're not working right now. Yeah. They haven't been for a while. And hey, if you can get by without working, and hey, you know, cheers to you or whatever. But there's a lot of lazy-ass motherfuckers that are like,
not, you know,
sucking the titty. The taxpayer titty. And that's us.
Right, yeah.
And you're like, you know.
And it's pretty, I mean, I understand there's probably some people that do need it or whatever, you know, but.
Always.
Fuck, dude. I mean, I know for sure that there are some people that don't need the shit and need to get the fuck off and off their ass and get a fucking job just like all of us, because. There's businesses right now that are struggling because they don't have enough staff, and they're
all kinds of businesses getting fucked. And and then like my friend had a good point, like the coronavirus and all this bullshit. It's fucking crock of fucking piss. But
it's fucking
now, like if you were a bum before, like a 30-year-old man-child still living at home with mommy, and you're like sitting on your ass all day. That used to be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But now, with coronavirus, now you're a good person because you're like, I'm at home. I'm social distancing. I'm not out in the world working, putting people at risk. So I'm a stand-up citizen.
Yeah.
And you're like, now they can get away with it and feel good about themselves. I'm like, I don't care who you're still a pile of shit.
Yeah.
You're not contributing, motherfucker. Like,
and even though they could.
They could.
See, that's what sucks is you develop, you know, like it's so easy to get lazy. It is.
It is. For all of us.
You get all this money and you're not having to do anything for it. Get in a fucking habit of not doing shit. And it's hard to pull yourself, because it's hard for them to pull, or whoever the fuck's doing this shit, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that anyone, you know, but I'm just saying
Step it up.
It's,
Do your
like
part.
get out of the fucking bed. You know, get up, go get a job. Fucking let's.
It's good for you too. Like there's the whole thing like work
Not to-
sucks.
not to
work
make-
is good for you.
Yeah, not to get too political or nothing, but like, you know, they are depending on the government for a paycheck. I'm pretty sure that the government is pretty happy about that because then you're depending on them now.
Now they're in
So
control.
why are they making everybody not fucking work so that way they can depend on the government? That's kind of weird.
It is
you know?
weird.
Yeah, and then everybody that's actually working is catching a lot of flack, you know, and getting fucking disrespected and shit.
Yeah, you're flipping the lens like,
It's
the
like-
working man is the bad guy.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
putting
you
people
know,
at risk.
You know, and I
Like,
mean,
nah, motherfucker. Why'd y'all get this shit twisted? The working man's the good guy.
yeah.
The working man's the only reason any of this shit goes
Yeah.
around.
That's why, I mean...
Because all you
yeah.
motherfuckers who aren't working aren't making anything go round.
Yep. And that's
Don't
why,
get it
like,
twisted.
I mean, I respect, like, the fucking guys and men and women that are working at the, you know, doing the fast food, you know, that are working over there, working at, you know...
All them shits.
You
yeah.
know, they're working their fucking asses off, you know? I mean, they don't have, you know, like a large staff there anymore. I mean, nobody wants to fucking do anything, you know? And they're just sucking on the big fucking tit of the fucking Uncle Sam, man. You know?
Yeah.
Like, or it ain't even Uncle Sam anymore. It's
Sucking
a
Uncle
fucking-
Sam's dick.
Yeah. It ain't even Uncle Sam anymore, I don't think, man. This shit's fucked up now, man.
Yeah, it ain't Uncle Sam. It's the men behind the curtain.
Yeah, now it's
It's those
yeah.
underground lizard people, Hillary Clinton's. Fucking
No shit.
bastards.
Right.
Joe Biden, fucking cocksucker.
Fucking bastard.
Shit, I think we went through a lot, man. Anything else you want to go over real quick? We'll do this again one of these days. We'll just
Do it again.
We'll
yeah.
just pick it up right where we left off and
Yeah.
get on some new shit. But
Yeah, it was pretty fun, man.
yeah,
Kind of chilling and talking shit and talking about music and electrical shit. Hell
Fuck
yeah,
yeah.
man. That was fun.
it was
It
dope.
was cool.
Yeah, man. So like, we're not playing this weekend. So fuck. Hopefully we practice again. Maybe. I know Gons is out for 10 days because of quarantine, but quarantine.
Fuck. Did you see what my dad posted on the Oh god.
That's funny.
Oh god. My dad, like, I was there with him when he did that and he just started laughing and I was like, what's so funny, you know? And he was like, he just showed me the text and I was like, oh fuck. You know, because I've never like seen my dad like always
Joke around like that.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty funny shit right there, man.
It's funny. I stir that up a lot. Those group text conversations, and I got everyone saying "fuck" with a PH. Like,
Yeah.
Like even Jeff was like "fuck yeah" with a PH.
Yeah,
That was
dude.
like funny.
Because it says the same thing. It's just different lettering.
It's just
you know?
funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some Seven Stone merch coming in. Should be tight. Some little T-shirts.
Oh fuck yeah.
That'll be
Cool,
fun.
man.
But
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know if we'll practice this coming week or fuck. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see, huh?
Yeah.
But
I'm sure
We could just
we'll
kick
figure it out. Hopefully, maybe it might be next Monday though, like the week after,
yeah,
or maybe shit, maybe even Thursday. I have fucking no idea.
it just all depends.
Yeah, just depends. But
Fuck yeah.
hell yeah, man.
Well, thanks for doing this, man. Keep rocking and rolling.
Hell yeah, you too, man.
We'll do round 2 like one of these days.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Keith Clute, motherfuckers, we out.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for being here. Peace out, bitches.